Hi, Suniti. Are you here, Suniti?
Yes, miss. Good evening.
Yeah, okay. Keep your video on so then I know you're there. Let me check who else is coming as well.
Ma'am, I just wanted to say I missed last week because I had to meet up with my friends on Sunday, and then Monday I didn't get any sleep that night. So
Okay.
my parents told me to sleep at 2 o'clock, and I just kind of kept sleeping.
Okay. No worries. You have your holidays are on right now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's okay. It happens once in a while. It's fine. Did you see? I think I shared the video. Did I share the video? Did you have a look? Yeah. We did the farm scene. This was a while ago. And last week, did we have class? I think we had class. I can't remember when we made that Eid Mubarak card. Could you keep your video on, Veer? Since it's just the two of you. Anyway, it's good to keep the video on. It helps me.
Sorry. I just.
Okay. All right. So last week, some kids had suggested seashells. So I've shared pictures of seashells, which I wanted to share with you. We can draw these. And I've also shared a couple of charts with you. So when you are illustrating items which are different from each other, you can put them together in a composition like this. So different kinds of shapes, but they are so well organized. You have some in a nice row up top, down at the bottom. Then you fill in the larger shells in certain spots with some kind of angle and orientation, and then the space in between with smaller shells. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to sketch and paint some of these shells. It's important that we do a certain amount of pencil sketching every time, because the more pencil sketching you do, the better your hand, your line becomes. It becomes much stronger. And then you can draw absolutely anything you want to. So I want to show you how to make that drawing. Let's see, I'll make these shells in pencil, and I want you to see how my hand moves when I'm drawing these. So what I'm going to do is, first I'm going to display this on screen. No, I'm going to display my illustration or process on screen, and then I will share the same image on screen so that you can try the same process as well. So you don't have to depend on a second device for this. Whenever you are sketching with a pencil, remember to, I just want you to see this. Don't follow me. I want you to observe how my hand moves. So you need to keep looking at the object that you're drawing. So I'm going to keep looking at the screen, and then I'm going to draw my my seashell. Now there's two things here. One is it's like seen from the closed side and seen from the open side, right? So I will be drawing both of them. So the first step to do is make a rough shape. I'm sure you can't see the image right now. So I'm making a rough diamond shape over here very lightly. And in this shape, I'm going to draw some lines, like there's a line of ridges, or there's a tiny depression between two bulges, and a shape like this. So making a rough sketch like that is very helpful. Once that is done, wait, we don't draw right now. Don't draw. Keep your pencil aside. I want you to see the whole process. After this is done, some of the details over here are very tiny. So start with the place where you can see the details well. And all you need to do is look at the shape made by a line, the direction of the line. So is it straight? The shape meaning, is it straight or is it round? The direction, is it going straight down? Is it slightly to the right? How much to the right or left or up? Is it moving? That is important. Just with those, you can create a sketch that looks somewhat like that. Now look at how my hand is moving. It is, what it's not doing is this. No, it has to move very freely. And you don't have to look at accurate shapes, but you have to look at proportions. You have to look at placement. So where you're going to place the rest of the elements. So what by placement, what do I mean? That we have something like this over here, a hook-like shape, a bump over here. But then there's a bump over here. There's a bump-like shape over here and over here. In what direction are they placed? Then there's one below. In what direction is that placed? This is the kind of sketch you need to make. And here is just going to be wobbly line because we don't see so much detail. So you don't make it. And then look at texture. So you have bumps over here. The bump is seen as just something like this, a shape like this, perhaps. And then you have all these lines. Some are thick lines, some are thin lines. They go up and down. And they are creating a texture. Got it? So they're not just straight lines. They go in, down, inside, down. Along the ridge, they will come outward a little bit or down. And then they're all parallel lines. And at some point, the distance between these lines will change. So you have to observe all these things. And at every point, you have to keep, all the clues are in the picture. So you cannot just look at one line and then repeat the same thing over there. Now, this is the most important part of drawing any art. Being able to see the object clearly for what it is. Now here we don't have too many lines going sideways, but we have lines going, a texture going up and down. So you draw it like that. All right. Now, when I'm drawing, see how far I'm holding the pencil. I'm not holding the pencil too close. So you don't do that. Hold it far away and move your hand this way. Keep the pencil like this, keep it like that. Unlike writing, where we always hold the pencil very close and write the same shape, in drawing, you have to move it all over the place. Okay, can I show you the image and would you like to try drawing it yourselves now? All right. So I want you to see the image and try drawing it. Don't draw it too big, just draw it as big as your finger maybe, or just your palm, not too big. Now, when you're drawing this, try to not use an eraser at all. And if some lines go a little wonky, correct the line around it. You should be able to make some kind of shape that looks like a shell. Trust yourself. Sunidhi, can you turn around and face the screen? Right now, I'm seeing that you're looking at the screen on the right, and then you're turning your head and then drawing over here. So how about you turn towards the screen and look up? Yeah, so look up at the screen. But even then, if you have a book, hold it like that so that you can see just the screen and the drawing in one plane. Okay, you should not have to move your head down and up and down and up because that causes some loss of information, and definitely not from side to down, side to down. All right, try. Now, while you all are drawing this shell, I'm going to draw the one next to it. It's the same shape more or less, but the mirror opposite. Ah, very nice, Veer. Very good. Let's try making the other one as well. Sometimes in shapes like these, you can see the bigger shapes easily, like the folding, the opening of the shell. The smaller shapes towards the top, you can barely see them. Just see them as bumps, perhaps. Are you able to draw this, Sunidhi? Yeah? Okay, good. If you have problems, ask me. That's what I'm here for. If you can't see some shapes or you see something but you can't draw it, which happens very frequently, inform me so that I can help you solve it.
Miss, could you please put yourself on spotlight because I can't pin your drawing.
Sorry, which one can you not do?
Miss, I can't see your drawing because I can't pin it.
Okay, I'm going to stop share. I wanted you to see the original picture. That's why I had shared that. Now I'm making this. Now, suppose you want to convert this into a simple shape or a simple shell. Because if these lines become too complicated, how do you convert it into a simple shell? For that, let's go to the shell design of a scallop. You know what a scallop is? See, this is a scallop. This is simple. This is like a normal shell. You have something that looks like a circle, then you have a triangle, and then you have these side wings to the shape. So these can be easily drawn. Again, learn to draw a rough image first. So suppose I make, let's see, we're very, very nice. It looks like an ice cream cone, no? Good. Okay, now look at the scallop shape also. All you need to do is make a rough shape that's maybe an oval, and then somewhere towards the bottom of the oval, you pull down a V shape, bulge it down like that. And in this shape, you first draw the lines. Okay, look at my drawing first, yeah? So this is a center line. You don't draw the center line. You draw two lines on either side of the center. And then you keep drawing lines. These are called radiating lines. So you keep drawing these lines, all coming towards the center. Now see, every time I'm drawing the line, see how I've held my pencil really far away. And that's the way I can draw long straight lines. If I hold my pencil here, I'll have to move my whole hand and then the line doesn't come nice. Now, after I've drawn all these lines, then I will get, these are all guidelines. So I will be able to, what are we supposed to do over here now? Between these lines, we have a bump. And they are joined by a small depression. So draw a bump between the radiating lines at the edge of the circle. I think it can become a little wider also. Perhaps maybe an oval instead of a circle. And then I think the V shape can come slightly higher. And then we have shape on the side like that, like wings. And now in this, we can draw bumps on the slightly inner space of the shell. So whatever shape you have, there's always a way to simplify it. So all you need to do is again, look for the shape, direction of line, proportion, placement, texture, and you should be able to do it. 1 second now, let's see. I'm going to check these. 1 second. Nice, very sweet, very nice way. Suniti, how are you doing?
Yes, I'm trying to do it.
Okay. Veer, could you try making this one more time? This time do it slower, don't rush, and make your lines slightly less or maybe more refined. See if you can make any difference. And let's see whether the first one looks better, second one looks better, and how you have made that difference. So Nidhi, don't erase. I see you erasing too frequently. Don't erase too much. Draw the lines very lightly. Then you don't even have to erase. So say, for example, if you draw one line that's slightly wrong, it's okay. You can adjust around the line and then draw a better line. Okay, but if you erase it, then you get rid of the line that you made and you don't know how to adjust it, where to make the adjustment. All right? Try not to erase as far as possible. Now here's a very beautiful shell structure. This structure, of course, is a spiral that starts from the center, and as it moves outward, the line starts widening, becoming more and more spacious. Nice. You can slow down your speed though. Very nice, Veer. It's looking lovely. Which one do you like? First one or the second one? Second one? Good. Okay. Now to draw this, I want to show you again. We're going to simplify this again. So you have a circle in the center. And from the circle, you will start drawing a line that goes outward all the way up to maybe here, because then you start seeing these bumps. So you need a guideline, and then you have to draw this separation between one part of the spiral to the other, because it's not a flat line. Okay, so look at this. I'm going to draw two things. One is a simplified version. So I have a circle in the center, a tiny circle. So Nidhi, look up, look up. Just observe this. Then I'm going to see the shape of the spiral. And as I go outward, I'm going to, this was here, but this is much narrower. It doesn't come out that fat. And carefully, I'm going to increase the width. I'm going to go all the way. And as I go higher and higher, I change. Now it's going too close to the edge, so I'm going to end it over here. And here now, I'm just going to draw these lines. Now, all of these lines, they have a direction. They all...
Now we did the same thing with the Nautilus shell.
Correct. So here we have to pay attention to the shape of the line. It is pointing out, not straight out, but downward a little bit. Okay, so this is a study. Now, if I want to do this one more time, like the original shell, I'm going to take more space. Maybe I'll make it here, circle. See the distance between the lines, and make dotted lines if you need to. And with each line, see that you're going further away from the previous line. Oh, let me spotlight. Sorry. So here you have to count. This is the circle. This is one inner line. 1, 2. Oh, I've gone too far already. 2, 3. Because it's a spiral, it's not exactly a circle. You have to count from one point how many lines are following. Now, come to 4. And then this will come out up over here. All right. Now, the important part is to get the shape right. So I'm going to start from the outside because I can see the shape better over here. It's almost like a wave going outward. So it first goes to the left, then right, then out. And it's almost like a parallel line of that shape is made throughout, and the line is pointing in a particular direction. Not all of them are the same shape. You have to pay attention to the shape that each line makes. Now I've made one spiral shape, and now I'm going to do the outline. So since I have all the bases, I'm now going to create the outline shape. So it goes up like a scale, down, up, down, almost like a dragon scale. Now this shape is most important in the outer, on the outer side, but you see a little bit of that on the inside also. And you continue that. So remember, art is nothing but being able to translate what you see around you into lines and shapes and colors. And you can create the illusion of absolutely anything. If you can draw a line, you can draw anything. Now, as I'm coming closer, some places I'm not getting the proportion right or the shape right, but it's more or less maybe 60% the same. It's convincing. It may not be accurate. And then towards the inside, it just becomes a simple line, simpler and simpler and simpler. Okay. Do you want to try drawing this? This has come out too much. I think I'm going to correct this line. Then we are going to paint these shells. I'm deliberately leaving my mistakes because I want you to see once you start painting, it doesn't matter. These lines won't matter. Shall we start painting? All right, let's start painting now. Are your drawings done? Can I have a look? Okay, let's see, Sunidhi, I'm pinning your frame. Oh, very nice, very nice. Looking good, so cute. Very nice. Good. All right, now, when we are painting, I'll show you how I'm painting first. I want you to see this, and then I want you to paint your own. So the first thing we do, are you going to use watercolors, both of you? Yeah? So I'm using these colors. And the first thing I'm going to do is create a very light wash of black, ultramarine blue, and burnt umber. So there's these three colors, 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to make it very light. I want you to see this first before you make anything. So I take a very light wash of this, and I can test it on a piece of paper first so that I don't make a mistake. I can check if it is a nice light color. This is going to dry and become very light also. And the first thing I'm going to do is give a wash of the shadows. So look here, don't look down, just pay attention to what I'm doing. So these shells have got just a dark color on the left hand side, right? But this one also has a pink. Forget the pink. We won't make the pink. So what I'll do is, just with a light brush stroke, I'm going to make a shadow. Let's see how my brush is moving. I'm keeping some of the highlights unpainted. Come from the side. And bring all the, look at how light it is. There's hardly any paint visible. Can you see between this and this? There's a little dark over here, a little dark on this side, and that's about it. Maybe a little over here, and that's it. Okay? And the same thing I'll do on the right. Again, you need to check if you mix the color and you get a line that's this dark. Don't use it this dark. It's just a very light shadow. Okay, look up here, because if you make it this black, then it's not going to look like a shadow. It's going to look like you have a black shell. We want it so light. So you need to, if you have it this dark, then wipe your brush on the rag and then try again. See? Then you get a light shade. And this shade can then be applied in all these sections. I'd rather that you make a much lighter shadow than a dark shadow. And before you start painting, I'm going to show you the picture, and then I want you to see where the shadows are first and only then draw. Okay, don't just imagine and don't just look at mine. Okay, can you see the shapes now? Okay, try making that painting. I'm going to first make a small color patch. And I will write the colors that I have used here. Suniti, have you started painting? Good. Let me know when you're done with the shadows over here, because before we paint anything else, we are going to paint this shell, the scallop.
Miss, I'm done.
You're done? Okay. Veer, are you done? All right. Now, for the scallop shape, I want you to first see this and try mixing the color that you see. Now, I have a whole bunch of paints in my palette, which have a slightly reddish pinkish tone. So I'm just going to use some of these. It's got some scarlet, some light red, maybe a little bit of burnt sienna.
Ma'am,
Yes,
would just scarlet and white work?
this is scarlet.
Yeah,
Which is the other one you wanted?
white. Just white.
No, don't use scarlet and white, because don't use white at all, because we want a transparent color. I'm going to show you how I paint this. Let me stop sharing. Okay, so with watercolor, try to not add white at all. And how I'm going to do this is, look at this. It's just a very watery shade. You don't really need to add any white, but you can use a watery shade to make one wash. So look at how I'm doing this. Now, if you notice that the shell has got a few highlights in the middle and darker shades on the right hand side. So this is what you can do. You can actually paint the shell sideways. Look at this. I'm going to put a color on one side and I'm going to pull it downward. See, I'm just guiding the color down. And as my color runs out, I'm going to add more color and bring it downward. See, I'm pressing it further down. Now on this side, sorry, on the right hand side, there's a little darker shade. So I'm going to take a slightly less watery color and going to introduce that. But this time I'm going to introduce it in the shape of the shell. So it's less water in this. And I'm going to hold this at a tilt so it dries up like that. And then the same light color I will also apply on these wings here. But it's just the remaining color in my brush. And now it can just remain to dry. Can you see how on the right there is excess pigment because I used slightly darker shade. So this is the difference. This is very runny color and this is slightly denser color. I just picked up this which is slightly thicker and I introduced it to the, as I was coming to the bottom. Now we can do the same technique over here, where instead of sideways, I'm going to turn the book around because the darker part is over here inside. And somewhere in the middle, I can also introduce orange. So this is how it, orange or even gamboge, which is that warm yellow color. I'm just taking a little bit of that. And while the paint is wet, I am making it yellow right over here. And then going back to that beautiful pink color. And then as you come lower, I want you to see this, kids. Just have a look. As you come into this section, see, I'm introducing the dark shade like this, perpendicular to the line of color. I'm going to also use a little bit of that color on the open lip. Here it is dried much faster. Now the same color in very light stripes is on the shell also, right? So you can just make horizontal lines or just go right next to the dark pencil lines we've made using this same pink color, very subtle. Now, once you become very confident with your lines, you can directly paint the pink lines or the lines of the texture without even having to make pencil lines. So that doesn't have to happen today, but see, this is how I would paint it. I won't even bother making all the horizontal stripes on the shell with pencil. And because of our lovely shadow paint, we are able to make this look very three-dimensional. Are your pictures looking three-dimensional? This part? Are they looking like this part has a shadow? I'm making a slightly deep, dark brown wash on the inside of the shell. And I'm pressing the brush along the edge like that. And on this side. Now at this point, I'm also going to make the salmon color swatch and write down what shades I think I used over here. So this was scarlet, plus burnt sienna, plus a little bit of crimson, plus light red, okay, now for the shell, for this shell, what do? We'll take the same color, but look at what I do is, this is a very liquid color. So I will just take some color from the side, just in the tip of my brush, and just to the side of this line. I want you to observe this. Now pay attention. Look here. Each of these lines is meant to be a section of the scallop. So because it is dark on the right, I'm turning this upside down and I'm going to paint along the right side, only half of the line. So see this, I'm going to touch the brush with the to the edge of the line and press it so that I get only one side dark. And not all the way from the end, somewhere over here. Okay, can you see this? And now slowly my shell will start looking very three-dimensional. All the right sides of the line, when you've turned it upside down, are dark. See? It's a very simple technique, but you have to keep your brush, your paint transparent, translucent, let's say. All these shell types also have names. That is the first poster. This one is a conch, and this is a scallop. Right, it's sideways. Now for this big one, you can first make a wash of yellow ochre perhaps. So my wash is going to be somewhere here. See how liquid it is? There's so much water in it. And I'll dab my brush on the rag first, so I get very little paint. And how am I going to do this wash? I'm going to press along this edge again, the same way that we did for the scallop. See? Press along the line. The tip of your brush should be touching the line, and you press it down. So you get some kind of shape here. Finish all the shapes on the right hand side first. And I'm making them slightly bigger. Here they're slightly smaller. And maybe also along this edge a little bit. This, remember, a wash is always very light. And then you go along this shape. Now these are all base tones. Every time you do watercolor, try to see how you will execute this in layers. What will be the bottom layer, next layer, third layer, fourth layer, fifth layer, and so on. And every layer is usually a smaller area than the previous layer. Now to this same shape, I will add a little bit of maybe this color, which is, I think, maybe I can add a little bit of burnt umber. And to burnt umber, I'll add a little bit of black. Then it'll become a nice deep brown color. So I'm going to note down what this shade is. First would be yellow ochre, and then this color type. Now this too needs to be a wash, so add more water. Test the color out, make that shape and see. Yeah, it's coming pretty nice. And then make a smaller shape here. Press the brush. You can go left to right, right to left. But this shape can be slightly smaller than the yellow ochre shape. In some places it's wider also. So I can make it bigger. And then don't try to make the shape too refined. It has to look a little teda meda. Only then it will look organic. Are you getting this brush stroke by just pressing the brush? This is called brush manipulation. As you come inside, you will make this brush stroke thinner and thinner. In every subsequent layer, I can keep adding a deeper shade. Now I can make much deeper line using black with the burnt umber. And I can make it in a few places. So look at this. This is slightly smaller, a thinner line. Now, every layer that I'm making, I'm waiting for the first paint to dry, huh? Not before it dries. Are you getting it? Veer, your video is off. Are you there? You left? Ah, okay. Now, just as a detail, if you want to go very deep into this, you can also make some lines like that, parallel to this. Now, this is too much to do for the whole thing, but if you wanted to make a realistic looking shell, this is how you can expand it. Because these lines are there. Okay, now our time is up for now. Tell me, kids, what would you like to do next week? Veer, do you have any suggestions? Suniti, how about you?
We make like desserts, maybe.
Sorry,
This desserts like a cupcake or cake.
desserts? Are you okay with that, Veer? Desserts?
We could try drinks or we could try animals.
Animals. Okay, so let's do desserts next week and then animals the week after that. Or animal desserts, let's see. What are animal desserts? A cake shaped like a giraffe. What animals would you like? Wait.
Like dogs, cats, like household animals.
Okay. Dogs and cats. Good. We shall do that. And would you like them to be like cartoons or realistic?
More like um it could be either. Like I was thinking more realistic, but yeah, but cartoons would also.
All right. I'll note it down. So if we can do both, that'd be great. We can start with cartoons because they're easier to do and then move towards realistic. And for dessert, we'll try cupcakes. Okay. Can I see your shells? How have they turned out? Do you have any questions, any doubts about that? Oh, let me see. Nice. Very nice, looking good. Now, you know what you can also do is you can substitute these colors into any colors that you want, but use the same technique of painting. So you get layers and layers and layers, and you might get a very nice creative seashell also. It doesn't always have to be a pink or a brown. You might find you want to do a blue or a purple or something like that. It could be exactly the same thing. And once you know how to create the structure, you can repeat the structure, make it bigger, smaller, and play around with that also, and come up with your own shapes for imaginary seashells also. Okay? All right. Shall we end the session then for today? And I'll see you next week. Bye.